particular bundle, because this bundle itself encompasses not just only one portfolio, but multiple portfolio, as you can see later. So what is about the startup package? Why do we need a startup package? So startup companies are basically companies that are initially very small companies that will require nourishment. Right? They're like seeds that are basically, being planted, but we need the help of nourishment to help this company to grow to the size that they'll be successful. And the purpose of why we are offering this particular bundle to help this startup company in the area of design, engineering, and simulation is that one day, this company, which can be small today, as you can see, it can be small seeding, they can grow into a very big tree or a very big plant, right? They might be small today, but one day they will become unicorns. So this is the one reason why we are looking at seeding such company. And this company will also typically be acquired by multinational, whereby they will invest in this startup so that they can, generate revenue stream and probably new market share through such startup acquisition. And largely, as I mentioned, this startup will one day become very huge enterprise. Like for example, a Tesla, for example, has been a startup initially, but has gone to a very big company today. So the whole idea of Siemens, what you want to do is really to support and help this startup to move faster, and also to reduce the cost and the risk of their business investment, and also reduce the risk of failure for their business. So end of the day, we are doing the seeding, we are doing the planting of the seed, but we believe that many of these startup companies one day will become very big company that we will benefit by they buying from us our solutions, right? From a commercial perspective. So that's why startup is important for us on a more strategic perspective. So we have actually officially launched the engineering design and simulation for startup. There's actually a lot of materials in the HighSpot. There has a campaign that's been created, as you can see from the PowerPoint here. There's a campaign already created in HighSpot. If you type in the campaign name, you should be able to find all the materials needed from the customer end user presentation to the FAQ to the playbook, to all the tips for the industry, including references and also case study by successful customers who have been startup. So it is ready for roll up. So the purpose of today's webinar is to really introduce to you the overall packaging and what you can do and what you can sell for this package. So with that, I will hand over to Elon to elaborate more about what we have for the startup package. So Elon, over to you.
Yeah. Hello everyone. As Rick introduced, my name is Alon Shacham. I'm based in Israel. 3 years ago, I was the AP Zone PFD for MFE, and in January I took the SMB role. And I was part of the team that worked on developing this campaign for startups, which is basically based on 2 years of work in the USA. Okay, so we try to reuse and leverage a lot of our success in the United States. The next couple of slides, and I will try to speak slowly, are part of the executive presentation, our value proposition for startups. Okay, so you can always go back to HighSpot and look at the executive and mid-level presentation. They contain some of the messages and slides that I'm going to go through. Eric, next slide, please. Okay, so let's dismiss this myth. There's a myth, like a mythos, that startups are working only on simple designs. Within the industries that typically we serve, like aerospace, automotive, industrial machinery, and so on, innovation is really happening at a very rapid pace. And the level of innovation is really driving higher and higher complex systems, okay? So if we think a startup only makes simple things, it's not the truth. They actually make very complex systems today, as we will demonstrate and show a little bit later. There are numerous companies. There's a lot of companies that are being created to develop, for example, vehicle systems to take commercial passengers to space, like space tourism. for example, and eventually maybe going to Mars as well, right? So a lot of companies in the aerospace domain are trying to do that. This is a very ambitious endeavor challenge, and leading many startup companies to develop and provide the technology which is required. We have other examples like electric vehicles, which is really picking up all over the world, right? We see much more electric vehicles, and I know China is for example, one of the leading countries in EV. Urban air mobility, right? You can see today some examples. I think I saw this week a prototype of a Japanese startup company which makes airborne motorcycles, like hover motorcycles. So definitely there's a lot of innovation taking place there. Furthermore, given the complexity of those systems, startups are also attempting to cope, to deal with some challenges in their larger counterparts, right? So they see challenges or they face challenges like larger companies, okay, because of the complexity of the systems. Next slide, Rick. So once we established that they are not doing only simple designs, there are also challenges that are even more impactful for startups, given that they are small and they have limited resources. They have pressure of the investment community, okay, the investors, pushing them for accelerated schedules to hit the product and commercial viability. So the investors, they want to see a fast return on investment. They cannot afford the cost, the manufacturing, and a lot of build test cycles, okay? So this is a big challenge for startups because they are small, they cannot afford a lot of iterations. Due to some of the cost constraints that they have, they usually acquire tools and solutions that were cheap, least expensive, or free. They really like freebies, but they lack the fundamental capabilities that they needed in order to scale and support their design and the validation, the simulation. Okay? They also lack the ability to grow with the company. So if you buy a cheap CAD system, then you will either face lack of capabilities or you will have a problem to scale as your company grows. And they're also trying to find, typically startups in our industries are looking for the right partner to help them through their journey. They are trying to find the right financial partner, service provider, and solution provider to offer the depth, the breadth, and scalability once they grow. Next slide there, Rick. So looking at some of the challenges, what really startup companies are looking for from a partner? Okay, so first of all, it has to be affordable, it has to be a scalable solution, and it has to be aligned with the innovation that they develop with their product. They are looking for solutions that are secure and managed in an environment where the data is protected, accessible when it's needed, can reduce the time and errors, and enable them to reach their quality goals. This is very important. They also, startups today, they investigate a lot before they invest in a solution. So they often encounter the concept of digitalization. Okay, so we talk a lot about digitalization, but startups, again, in the industries that we work in, are very keen on digitalization. Like in many of our enterprise accounts, they do realize that digitalization is required to accelerate their time to production and their commercial viability. Okay, so in order to reduce the burdens and cost and reduce the iteration cycles, they require embedded simulation-driven design to find design issues early on in the cycle. Okay, so we offer them a package that enables them to design, but also to validate, to do the simulation upfront. Next slide, Eric, please. So if you can please mute. Thank you. Okay, So what we see on the screen is a bit of a challenger message to startups, and it has a little bit of constructive tension, okay? So what it says, your company has a 99% chance of not becoming the unicorn. Unicorn, by the way, is over $1 billion company you aspire to be. So Boston Consulting Group, it's one of the research analysts, reports that 42% of innovations fail due to long development cycles. It's a risk you cannot take, as your company will not have a second chance to bring your great idea to market. So this is basically our message to the leadership of a startup company, okay? So many of them will fail. The ratio, I believe the statistic says about 1 to 10. Only one is actually becomes, a unicorn will be successful and 9 will fail. Okay, so we wanna actually support them in those risky times. Next slide, Eric. This slide actually highlights the need to begin the development process with solutions that scale over time and as the company matures. The graph on the right was taken directly from a customer, a startup company, that presented in one of our conferences in the United States. And it demonstrates how they see their life cycle. Okay, you see the graph, but also which systems are required in order to support their life cycles, and also where they are in terms of their phase, whether in terms of getting investors to invest in the company. Okay, so you can see which systems are required, and this is a customer view, okay? This is something that actually one of our startup companies presented. On the left side, we see this space vehicle. This is a company, again, an American company. It's called Space Perspective. You can see on the top of the vehicle. They are designing a capsule. It's a capsule that will lift commercial passengers into the most outer band of the atmosphere by a very large balloon. Okay, so imagine a balloon connected to this capsule, and you are able to buy a ticket and maybe go to space. And maybe our kids will be able to go for a space vacation in the future. But this is sort of products being developed. In a recent podcast they did, and a video they did with us, and I think it's on our HighSpot site, they spoke to the importance of starting with the right solutions, and how digitalization is really critical to model and validate their design, make sure that the design will work in many of the environments they will pass through, from the ground level through the atmosphere to space and then back. So they have to really make this very detailed validation without, using our technology. Next slide, Eric, please. Okay, maybe some of you have seen this. This is some of our accelerator message. So we offer accelerator. We are all familiar with the accelerator platform and our positioning for large customers, but accelerator also relates to any company of any size, okay, not only large enterprises. As we pointed out in the previous slide, companies develop complex products require a digital twin solution that can really scale and grow as they need, as their product matures, right? With Accelerator, with our offering, the Accelerator offering, Siemens really delivers that solution for digitalization better than anyone else in the industry, especially when you bring and you consider our capability for electrical, electronics, app development, cloud infrastructure. Startup may not need everything, to begin with. If you remember the previous slide, they will adopt more and more technology as they grow and scale, but they want a platform that can actually support all their future needs, which is of course, this is what we pitch, the Accelerator platform. Next slide, Eric, please. Okay, so what do we offer? I will talk a little bit more in detail further on the package. Basically, we offer 4 bundles, 4 promotions. Those are partner promotion for startups at a relatively high discount rate. So you can see at the bottom, it rounds between 88 to 92.5% off of list price. And I will go a little bit more in detail further on. Next slide, Eric. Okay, so to summarize this first part, why Siemens? Okay, so a couple of points to consider why Siemens when we talk to startups. Our solutions really reduce the risk and cycle time of those companies by providing an integrated data management, design, and simulation from the beginning. Okay, especially now when we talk about hybrid SaaS, we already can offer a lot of capabilities even without a full PDM solution. We offer the expandability and scalability beyond any other solution in the market. Okay, so of course we have a lot of challenges, but please remember that Siemens today offer really an amazing solution in terms of how we can scale the solution and cover a lot of technology areas for companies for startup companies. Siemens also has the presence in all the major industry segments, which the startup companies operate in. Okay, so we have the ecosystem. And we always offer the ability to join market with our startups. Nearly all startup companies are excited and really anxious to take advantage of, our market position. As they are seeking the market visibility, they are seeking insights, they are seeking network and relationship, industry recognition and credibility, and demonstrating to their stakeholders that they are working with the #1 world leader. So remember that a startup company, they also have to answer their investors. And going with Siemens, it's a safe bet. It's a very credible, it's a very strong brand name. Okay, so we have a lot to offer to startup companies. Next slide, Eric, please. Okay. So in the next part, I will talk a little bit about what is our commercial offering to startups. But before that, I do want to take a couple of seconds to help you identify which startup companies we would like to target, or where they are in terms of their life cycle. Okay, so here on the screen, you can see the typical stages that startups go through, right? From a pre-seed and maybe seed funding. Seed funding is early, high risk funding, low dollar investment from typically non-venture capital sources, angels, private people, family, right? Then, when the company demonstrate feasibility, typically they will get like an angel investment, a bit higher dollar value. And then they go into a Series A, which is higher, right? Maybe venture capital companies, capital companies bring in some more serious money, and so on and so forth. So really, when we think about sweet spot, our sweet spot would be in terms of, starting from a seed funding into a Series A company. Okay, Series A funding, this would be our sweet spot. So when you look for companies and you investigate on startup companies, look where they are. If they have gone through an IPO, for example, initial public offering, and they are a traded company, maybe they're already too big for this promotion. It doesn't mean we don't have to talk to them, but maybe they are outside of the boundaries of the conditions we offer here. Next slide, please. So what is the eligibility criteria? What is the target company profile? So first of all, a new customer, we would like it to be a privately held and registered company. It should be less than 5 years old since inception. It should be less than $5 million USD revenue in prior year. It should be less than 25 million in venture capital or private equity funding. It has to have a final customer product, and it has to have and of course commercial offering, and should not be a consultant or doing services. Okay, so basically this is the criteria which will we approve or decline the eligibility to participate in the startup program. Okay, so this is very important, and it's detailed in the all the information here is also detailed in the playbook. So if you go on HighSpot, and I'll post the link after that. If you go on HighSpot and you open the playbook, all this information is there. Eric, next slide, please. All right, so what do we offer? And you've seen this slide earlier before. Basically, there's 4 packages, promotions. The first one on the left, it's in an engineering package, includes NX Mach 3, which this is basically our high-end NX CAD. It includes SimCenter, 3D structures, and animation designer with NX. It includes Teamcenter Rapid Start, so this is on-prem offer, and an online learning membership to our Accelerator Academy. Okay, and this is offered at a 92% discount. The second, sorry, the second on the left, it's basically the same bundle, the same promotion, but with Teamcenter X. Okay, so again, NX Mach 3, our high-end CAD simulation, but managed with a PDM based on Teamcenter X. I know that we have some limitations in some of the AP countries that we cannot sell yet Teamcenter X, so we'll work case by case. And this is offered at a 92.5%. Please bear in mind, and I will refer you back to the playbook, there are some quantity limitations with Teamcenter X. So we can only sell, there's a limit of 5, minimum of 5 when we sell Teamcenter X, okay? So this is kind of a special package, I would say. So you have to be a little more sensitive because of Teamcenter X. The third, or the second from the right, it's what we call the Flex Engineering. Flex is basically a work group offering. This is, I didn't say that, but actually package 1, 2, and 4. So engineering SaaS, and simulation are packages that we already execute in the US for the last 2 years in the USA. The Flex is something that we added now. It's a new one. And basically we were targeting a work group. So imagine you have a small work group of 5 engineers. It covers, so we offer NX Mach 1, not Mach 3. However, we offer tokens, value-based licenses. Okay, so as you can see, there is 200 tokens of NX, 200 tokens of SimCenter, and 100 tokens of manufacturing. And of course, the Accelerator Academy. The value of this package is enormous. The company will get most of our functionality because we use value-based licenses. So I know some of you know a VBL quite well. Although we offer Mach 1, so we are lacking a little bit functionality on the CAD side, they get a lot of exposure to our technology because of the value-based licenses. Okay, so this is the Flex package. There's a minimum of 5 here on the Flex. The last package is the simulation package. This is really advanced simulation. Okay, companies looking for advanced simulation package. As you can see, it also has Teamcenter on-prem, Teamcenter Rapid Start, NX Mach 3, and SimCenter with most of the advanced capabilities of SimCenter, Star CCM Plus, MESIM, and again in the Accelerator Academy at a value with a discount of 92.5%. Next slide, please, Eric. Okay, what are the commercial terms for this promo? Again, everything you don't have to copy. If you go to the playbook, everything is written in the playbook. We offer SaaS license type only, 1 year minimum. Again, I know there's some countries in AP that we have some limitations, so we go with subscription. Maximum 10 seats. Services excluded from the promo discount structure. So this whole offering doesn't include services. We still ask you to request an approval. So we need an approval by the PME, and working together, the PME will work together with the startup program management. In our case, it's Eric. Okay, so Eric will be our point of contact in Asia Pacific as the startup program manager, at least for the next couple of months while we are ramping up the program. We can offer, as part of this promotion, other products at a 75% discount upon the channel management approval. Okay, so work together with the, with the PMEs, but we can offer other components at a 75% discount, assuming that they bought something. Okay, so if they bought one seat of the startup promo, we can sell other technology at a 75% discount. One very important thing, there is a fixed partner discount on those packages. Okay, so I know each partner has a unique contract, a unique product you can sell. And within this startup promotion, we have decided to have a fixed margin to partners, fixed discount. So on all the promos, we have 35% discount. On the Team Center X1, we have some limitation. So the discount will be a bit lower at 25% and 35% all the rest of the bundle components. Okay, so again, this is a very important point. This is outside, or this program is a bit different than our regular contracted products we have with the partners. So please bear this in mind. Also, there's no additional discounts applied. As you've seen, those are heavily discounted promos. No additional discounts apply. Next slide, Eric, please. This is an example. This is an example on the term, on the period. So in this example, we have a company X, a startup company X. It's eligible. Okay, it meets our eligibility requirements. It has 3 users. And what you can see within the table is the year 1 to year 5. So year 1, and the prices here reflect USD. Okay, you may have a little bit different price according to your local price book, but the same discount rate applies. So again, we took the US prices for this example. First year, 3 users, 2.4K per seat. They will pay $7,200 on year 1. Year 2, assuming that they are still eligible, they'll pay the same price, 7.2K, same as year 1, assuming that they are still eligible. From year 3 and on, there's a decreasing net discount on the promos. So year 3, 75% discount on list, so the price will go higher. Year 4, we offer 60% discount on list, and year 5, 45% discount on list. Now, assuming that, and this is the, hopefully we'll get there, startup would want to commit on a 3-year contract, then what we will do, we'll basically sum year 1, year 2, year 3, okay, the first 3 years, and divide by 36 months. Okay, so this will be the monthly subscription rate, or the SaaS rate the company will pay. Okay, if it's a 3-year contract, although there's a minimum of 1 year for the startups. Some companies, because they are early stage companies, there's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of risk. They don't want to commit on a 3 year, so we can still offer a 1 year commercial offering to them. So hopefully this is clear. And again, the playbook contains this example and all this information in detail. Next slide, Eric, please. Okay, so what other tools are available for you to support the quoting and selling process? As I said, all promo and commercial details are detailed in the campaign playbook. It's a Word document. We tried really to take all the bullshit out and just leave the important things in the playbook that are important for you to execute. So the playbook is really a critical document for you to go through. It's about 15 pages, but all the details are there. It also includes attachments. Inside the document, there's attachments. For example, what you see here, the Excel spreadsheet. This is a spreadsheet that will help you within the quoting process. So there's a sheet per promo, and basically you just need to put the price, your list price, and you'll get the end user price. So we created those. This is based on a template we use within the channel team in the US. We expanded this to the global offering, and it's embedded inside the playbook. So if you go on the playbook, you scroll down a little bit, you'll see an Excel work group, you open it, and it's pretty straightforward. You will be able to see the different sheets. There's also a detailed presentation that Suzanne, which is one of our zone channel team members in EMEA, she created a step-by-step guide how to quote in P2O. Okay, so what are the steps that you need to do? You can see it on the bottom right side. Okay, there's a presentation. The presentation is also embedded in the playbook, and it takes you through the detailed steps, each of the screens in P2O. How do you need to quote, and where do you need to put the promo code? So unfortunately, this is not, maybe a lot of the partners, they know how to do this, but in order not to delay, then please go over this and just make sure you do it properly so we don't have any delays in approval. Okay, also we added some qualifying questions. There's some teleprospecting questions and guides. It's all in the playbook. So the playbook is your single point of kind of a source of information for all the program. Next slide, please, Eric. Before we close this part, some of you may know that there's also a Solid Edge program for startups, okay, out there. Basically, it is free. It does not include the full functionality of what we just discussed. It is really suitable for customers with more, I would say, straightforward engineering challenges, maybe more simple type of designs, versus what the bundles we offer based on NX and Team Center are more on a highly complex challenges, like I explained. Really, this is the way that we differentiate between the Solid Edge offering to this campaign is by the level of complexity. Of course, if a company would like to start with Solid Edge, it's fine, no problem with that. They can start with the Solid Edge startup, and as they grow and as they scale and they need more advanced functionality, they can move up to NX and the promotions that we talked about here. Next slide, please. Okay, it's a bit interesting because when we did this presentation to EMEA and America, we were 4 presenters. So it was me and another 3. So I'm kind of covering all the parts myself, but actually the competition, we had Tom Spangler is the campaign owner designee, is the person that designed the campaign. So I'm sorry, this was supposed to be a presentation that many people actually participate, but since because of the challenges with the time zones, it kind of happened that it's only me and Eric. So I will cover also the competition and some of our marketing information. So next slide, Eric, please. Okay, so of course, as you can imagine, we are not working in a vacuum, unfortunately. Surprisingly, there's some competition out there. All the companies out there are chasing startup companies. Everybody realized that those companies of today, the startups of today, will be the large enterprise of tomorrow. Okay, so we can see Dassault, we can see Autodesk, we can see PTC, and they are moving in with a very, very aggressive pricing. Okay, sometimes it's a couple of $100 a year to most of their offering, CAD, CAM, CAE, and so on. Next slide, please, Eric. So here we try to kind of summarize, and this is just a summary of, typical competition, what are the pros and what are the cons, so typically we encounter Dassault, Autodesk, at least in the USA, not so much PTC, to be honest, but maybe PTC, I think, is more active in Asia Pacific than in the US, in industries, for example, like aerospace, and it may be that, we'll see them more in Asia, we'll encounter more PTC. Basically, we try to kind of capture what is the key point, whether it's a weak integration, whether it's cloud-only solution where we can offer like both, hybrid SaaS and on-prem and also cloud. So again, just bear in mind that there is a competition out there and they are also targeting startups. But we believe and we know, based on our success in the USA, that we have much more attractive offering, and we are a long-term partner to those companies. Next slide, please, Eric. So unlike the competition, and this is really based on our experience talking to people like Paul Mosto, some of our team in the USA that work with those companies, more than 100 companies today. What the companies say, we are easier to use, we are integrated, we are highly capable in terms of technology, we are secure, we are scalable. If you think about a startup that starts with a free solution, with something cheap, like a cheap CAD system or a cheap simulation system, or maybe even with some of the limited offering from the competition, they will hit this wall and they will go and try to find solutions that can able to support the complexity and, as they scale and grow the company. So we have to be out there. This is very important for us. Next slide, Eric. Okay, so with that, just a brief, next one. Okay, so if you go on HighSpot, then because it, you know what? Let me just finish. I'll answer the question. Basically, it's CAD only. It's only cloud. Okay, they have no other options. So they're actually forcing everyone to work only on the cloud. They have no other option. So we consider this as a gap or a kind of as a con. In terms of marketing assets, there's actually quite a few marketing assets that were developed. Sorry. There's an ebook available. There's podcasts and videos. At the moment, they're in English. Okay, so those are based on the last 2 years of work in the US. Interviews with startup owners. So this is really great material. We are starting the execution of this campaign with a lot of good marketing assets for our partners. We have a webinar. Also, all this material is available in HighSpot. Next slide, please, Rick. We have, I believe, 5 customer videos. Okay, so those are founders of companies that were generous enough to work with us on references. So we have 5 video case studies which you can leverage. CEOs and engineers of really cool startup companies. So please go and take a look at the videos. Next one, please. Podcast channel. There's I think about 18 podcasts, interviews that, again, this is in English, digitalization to realization, done by our team USA. Okay, again, available on HighSpot. So there's podcasts, and last one, Eric. This is the customer success that we have: Apollo Fusion, Deflect, Sierra Turbines, Elevate. So those are some of the examples. We also have those, if you go on HighSpot, we have those one sliders. One slide that really captures the key message or the key value that the company gets. So if you go to the reference cases section in iSpot, there's a small presentation that contains those one sliders. I think there's 5, if I'm not mistaken. There's another one. So customer success, right? So we are not starting from scratch. We have a huge experience already with the team in America. They are ready to support. If you, for example, would like to have a session with some of our team members in the US, they are more than willing to share their experience, what to do, what not to do, how to identify leads, right? How to generate opportunity suspects. So we are able to set this up. Please talk to Eric, and of course I will support, and we can arrange that if you would like. With that, Eric, I believe you are.
Yeah. So this you are now near to the last topic for the day. Is really what are the achievements and also the summary of what we have discussed. Yeah, thanks Alon. So as what Alon has mentioned earlier, this has been very successful in the US, in America. They started this about 2 years ago. I think they probably have closed now couple of quite number of customers, totaling more than probably 4-5 million of worth of revenue from the
6 million actually.
6 million,
6 million in revenue, and they have 84 companies which close business. Yeah.
Right. So as what Alon mentioned, the good thing is that we are not guinea pig. This is proven program. In the US, they have taken the lead and they have demonstrated the effectiveness and also the potential in terms of future revenue for us with the startup program. So this is something that we can work on, right? Yeah. So it's proven. As you can see, that many of the companies are successful with that. And so again, yeah, so we really want to help the startup so that they can also, partner with them to make sure that they also enable their dreams of creating, industrial disruption, creating new innovative solutions and products to the market. Because startups are typically very much faced with a lot of complexity. They are no doubt startup, but they're dealing with complex, probably complex requirements or complex product, right? Whereby they need a very highly capable solutions for them to meet the requirements and the timing and the market timing expectation. And also with our accelerator portfolio of solution, that's actually part of the whole bundle. We are able to offer a very complete end-to-end, highly scalable, flexible solution that help them to be successful. And hopefully one day they become the unicorn that we can generate multi-million revenue from in the future. So based on those market requirements and also, what we see in the startup company, the accelerator engineering and simulation for startup bundles are very much aligned to those requirements and those budgets for those startup company. So when I took a look at Asia Pacific context, so I have people coming to me that Asia Pacific startups are not as many as in the US, for example. So I was doing some quick research, on the internet as usual, to see where are the possible areas you can look at for startup companies in Asia. But surprisingly, there are quite a lot of startup programs, either through some of the government initiative and also to some of the educational initiative, like the university, for example. You do have a lot of incubator programs and accelerator programs that we can actually leverage on, right, to look at potential startups that are suitable for our offering we can give to them. So there are actually a lot of them. Surprisingly, I was looking through, and I would say that probably a good way to look at is really look at who are the incubators, what are the incubator platform available today, and to work with those people, and potentially some of the accelerator as well, whereby they have some company that's very focused on accelerating some of the startup. So I think those are the areas we can start to explore initially to look at where are the potential startups they can basically target with this particular bundle. And of course, there are also lots of information you can find. You can even look at, the mapping of all the startups in Asia, right? How many of them in Australia, in Southeast Asia, in India. So there are lots of material there that you can actually find. If you need more information of this, please come to me. Right? I know exactly where you can get some of those information to assist you in identifying the potential startups and also where are the incubators and accelerators. So with that, before I end, I just want you to know that the startup program is live. Are you ready to go for it? If you to do a Google search and type Siemens startup program, right, on Google, for example, you straight away see that, it's listed over here on the upper left-hand corner, Siemens startup solutions. And then once you click onto it, it actually brings you into the startup, the landing page for the startup program for Siemens, and then the customer can actually register their interest, right? That's where probably that becomes a lead that we can then share with you, right? In your country, if depending on where the customer is when they put in their request of the interest in the startup program. So this whole thing is actually live and running. So the question is, are you ready, right, to take on this particular bundle in your country? So to sum it up as a call to action for everyone is that please do discuss with your channel manager if you're interested, on this program. As a requirement for this program, we would want you or those who are interested to participate to complete a one-page business plan. As you can see on the upper right corner, is basically a very simple one-page PowerPoint to tell us what you want to achieve, what is the target segment, what help you need from Siemens, what kind of funding in terms of MDF is needed, and also what are the activity and potential companies that you'd like to go after, right? So with a one-page business plan, then we know how to help you, right, to be successful in running this program together. There will be also follow-up enablement is needed on some of the portfolio that we can arrange. And then for you is to start to research and identify or even acquire, if you're interested, what are the companies today that start up in your country, execute the business plan, and then end of the day, of course, is to really check and review the progress and get feedback on how we can probably improve this program as we move along. So with that, I think I'd like to now have, I think we probably have left about 7 minutes to probably look at the questions in the chat box, what we have. And maybe if some of them want to ask questions, you can always free to unmute your mic and ask any questions that you want. Yeah. Okay, so let me just now move to the
maybe one comment, Eric, from my side. Typically, one of the nice kind of a best practices we had in the US, when we sign up those companies in the beginning, usually the initial agreement also includes a paragraph that this company will share or gives us, the right that they will share some of their success using our technologies. For example, in order to create those videos and success stories, we tell them, look, you're going to get a very attractive package here, heavily discounted, but in return, we would like maybe an interview from you or a statement once you start to gain the benefits or you start to realize the benefits. So I highly recommend you to adopt the same approach when we give, of course, we give a lot of technology at a very low price. We want to leverage their success also in order to enable us to accelerate the program to other companies as well.
Okay, very good. Are there any questions that we need to answer on the chat box that we have not probably addressed?
Yeah,
just looking through.
I answered what I saw.
Yeah, I think I saw that. Yeah, I think about the crowd. I think that's from week one. Thank you again.
And I put the links to iSpot, to the campaign spot, and also for the playbook. As I said, the playbook is your first stop. Please go through the playbook. And if there's still any questions or you find any issues or something is not very clear, please email Eric or myself and we will improve, right? We would like to get your feedback if something is missing and really would like to support the execution of this. This is very important for us that this will be successful, right? Not only for us, for the company.
Right. I don't think there are any more questions on the chat box, right? So
I don't see.
Yeah. So I think, okay, definitely probably as you are going through the material in the high spot in the playbook that Ellen mentioned, please look at the playbook. There's a lot of information there for you to further digest. And of course, if you have any question about the program and about, the qualification, about the bundles, about how to place the order, you can always come to me, right? Yeah. So I will be supporting you guys, right, in terms of helping you to launch that program, right, in your country.
Eric, I'm currently sharing the playbook. So what I wanted to say, as you scroll down the playbook, there's the different packages, right? And all the things we talked about in the presentations, you could see some of the information provided. And what I wanted to stress, inside the document, there's embedded files, like this would be the P2O quoting process. It's inside the document. There's the accelerator engineering bundle, the quoting spreadsheets. Okay, so as you can see, there's some attachments, there's some prospect calling guides. Everything is within the playbook. Okay, so if you read through the playbook, you should have all the information accessible. Again, if you think something is missing, we will add. Okay, so just provide the feedback, and of course, we'll improve and add.
Okay, I think I'll give you back 4 minutes, and then not any questions so far, right? That I know. So I think with that, I'd like to thank you everyone for your time. For those who attended it for second time, thank you again, right? So yeah, for the AP session. So looking forward to working with you. Please talk to your channel manager if you are keen about the one-page business plan, and then myself and Elon will be here to support you when needed. Okay. Thank you everyone, and thank you Elon for your time. Early morning, right, for helping us to present this.
My pleasure.
Yeah. So thank you everyone.
Everything for Asia Pacific.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you everyone. Have a
nice day. Bye bye.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Aaron.
Aaron.
Bye.
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 Thank you. Bye.